Hey everyone, it's Ometer, and today I have a different little video. I was asked by one of my subbies, Kim, hey Kim, if I can show how I utilize or how I separate the embellishments or the ephemera from the Love Bites sheet, element sheet. So first you have to import it and save it into your computer, and what we're going to use is the trace window. As you can see right here, it is at the top right. It's a little yellowish square with a blue square. You select it, and then you are able to create a box. So you're going to go to your image, click on your mouse on your left click, and then you're going to drag it to create a window where everything is collected just like it is here. And you see how it's turning yellow. Now what we're going to do is you're going to turn off the high pass filter, make the bottom one the scale all the way to the bottom, and then on the center bar on the bottom right, you see threshold. You will move that all the way to the right. Now, the reason why you'll just go all the way to the right is because this has just elements. Now, if you have other things on the different layers, you want to go slower to the right on the threshold because it'll change yellow, because you want it to be a solid yellow, and that's how you make your image. And then you're going to only select the trace and detach window. Now, this one is taking a little bit more of a time to do because there's so many separate elements. If it was just one element, this thing would have been done like right away. So that is how I separate them. And I'm going to show you several different things also, how I add the border to make it look like, like designer ephemera, and how I go through the process of printing cut all together. So hopefully bear with me, and hopefully I'm making sense and you guys are able to pick up on that. This is the elements from Love Bites, and you can do this also with anything that you download, that you copy, that you import into your Silhouette Cameo. I have the Silhouette Cameo, the second version, so this is usually what I do with any of these embellishments that I get. And you'll have several different options. So either you want to cut along the line or with a space, the white border around it, like ephemera that you would get from a collection or from the store. Like I said, this one's only taking a moment longer. It's because there's so many elements, and you'll see once it turns, the yellow goes away. That means you are free to detach them. I'm barely halfway through my cup of coffee, you guys. I do apologize. So see right here, then you just select an item, and there you go. You have completely separated it, because here's the thing. It comes on a sheet, and it looks like they're separated, but they're attached basically to the base that it comes in. They're attached to the actual, because the entire image is a print, not just the icons that you see on there. But here they are ready, they're separated, and you can you can also print them and hand cut them. I'm fortunate to have my Cameo, so I can actually play with it and make it look more like ephemera and be lazy instead of having to cut it myself. So now what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and add the border that I would add. So we're going to, at the top middle of the menu, you'll see the little octagon, and is it a octagon or hexagon? Hexagon. Open the offset window. So and you will click on the little offset icon. The little menu on the right changes. You see there's offset and there's interior offset. For the offset is on the outside. Obviously the interior is on the inside of an image. So you will go and select your items that you want to give an offset. So we're going to do the double heart and the lollipop. So they're selected, and now you're going to go over. Once you have selected your items, you're going to go over to the right hand menu that popped up when you hit the offset window, and you're going to select offset. It'll automatically create, if you can see on your icons, it'll create a red line, a red border in a way. That is the cut line. Remember, in your Cameo, all red lines are cut lines. The amount, you'll see on the scale, it says it always automatically starts at like 0.111 whatever. I personally prefer, and I feel, and you can see I just highlight it, and then I enter 0.060. Now, from my experience, for most ephemera that I buy anywhere, whatever, I feel like that touches base around the same area that the ones that are store-bought. And you see here on the left, it'll automatically shrink that that border that you created to fit that size. So I'm going to get a little close up here, I think. So, and now the red line is closer, like I said. And I keep that number because I can always remember that 0.60, and that is what I make my borders on my ephemera that I cut out, or any kind of embellishments that I make and cut out, because like I said, that's pretty close. You could do 0.50 and stuff like that. I don't know why I stick with 0.60, but whatever. I always end up doing that. So okay, So now what we're going to do is, this is how I make sure to set it up to cut. On the top right hand side, you see the little blade icon. We're going to go select that. Now, we have the 3 icons here, the double heart, the lollipop, and the hey sucker. So what I'm going to do, and this is generally what I do, because at this point you still have 2 different cuts on here. I select it all, I right hand click, and then I group. So therefore, the border of this is going to be the red border I made. And then on the right hand side, where I want it to cut, I'm going to select cut edge. You're going to cut the edge, and that will cut it. So when you print it and then cut it, it'll cut around that white border. Now right here with the lollipop, I clicked on it, I haven't grouped it, and I'll click cut edge, and it'll cut, when I print and cut that, it'll cut right on the border of the actual lollipop. But like I said, I want the white border. Now here, for my experience, when you add the little white border, it makes it look more professional, but you also don't run the risk of the cut, maybe not everything being aligned, and you cut into the image, you know, or you have a white little white line on one side but not on the other. So I always like to add the little white, you know, the white border around here. So since I'd already done this, I went ahead, I grouped it again, the lollipop, and then hit cut edge. And then when you group it and then hit cut edge again, it'll go to the border. With the little hey sucker embellishment, that one you want it just to cut along the border, and that's all you have to do if you want it to cut along a border. But like I said, I like to give the little white border because it gives it more of a designer store-bought kind of ephemera. So before you get started with all of that also, or if you're going to do the print and cut technique on your Cameo, I mean, this is probably something you guys already know. So if I'm telling you something you guys already know, I apologize, but I know there are some people that are getting started with their Cameo. I started this way somewhere too. So you're going to go ahead and make sure, go to your page options, and you're going to make sure that you have your show print border and your show cut border. Because at the bottom, you just click on them, and then you see where the little arrow is in the middle of the screen. It shows you those lines. You can't go outside of those lines with the print and cut. And then also make sure that you have your registration marks. The registration marks, you click it. It's right next to the first one we just selected. You go into style, and I just select the first one, which is the portrait, the automatic, the type 1. And automatically you will see the registration marks that pop up on your page. Now, that is where the Cameo is going to recognize it, the registration marks, and then it'll know where to cut. The black square and the 2 angles on the top right and the bottom left are the registration marks that the Cameo is going to recognize and then start cutting along where you've designated for it to cut. I also wanted to show you these little grayed out X's right here. This is also a space where you are not able to have any items in there. So anything that you print and cut has to be within that red line and within these X's and stuff. It's still a huge amount of inventory, trust me, of territory that you can fill. But that is how I do my ephemeras. I hope that is helpful to you guys. If you have any questions, oh, and yay me, I learned how to use the screen recording thing. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. If there's anything else I can help with, I'll be more than glad to. So thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, everyone.